European people don't even know who they belong to. They don't know half of the story about it. So they only got scientific knowledge of it, and they're far off from far-fetched some ancient aliens or some bullshit story they teaching you in science from a homosexual agenda nation of people who know not God the right way. So I mean, I don't want to hear that shit on television anymore. But I'm just to tell you, Jason and the Argonauts in classical literature is Joseph and the Israelites who come out of the land of Egypt, and they were seafaring people, the sea people, the Phoenicians. And they left the east and ended up in the west. I showed you. From the Mediterranean Sea, from the Suez Canal, when you spell Suez backwards, Sus. Pushed them to the east, and they ended up in the west. It's a place called Arkansas, Arkansas, Kansas. It's a tribe of people called the Sioux. Indian people, West Indies, the Sioux. It's the same thing. Who they believed in? Thunderbird. That's an aspect of Zeus. Has a bird. Egypt, he's called Amun-Ra. He has the bird, the divine child in his hand, or the angel-like child with wings. The Haru. Horus, the son of God. It's the same thing. He's an archangel in his hand of God. The Thunderbird, okay? Of the West Indies, that's what we believe in, the same thing. This is from the children of Israel. That's what I'm trying to say. But one tribe hated the others. That's what happened in the latter days. Because Joseph, two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, had the blessing, and then the younger son had the blessing over the older brother. We'll talk about this on the next segment, but the rest of the brothers were at enmity with Joseph because he had a better portion of land than they had. He had a better blessing, one more than your brothers. He had more than his brothers did, and they hated him because of that. You know, he is the inheritor from P. Ramesses at the temple of Amun-Ra. In Jesus Christ's name, we say amen. Jesus' father, they called him Joseph, the husband of Mary. In the Apocrypha, it's called Sirach. Like Zechariah could be his biological father. Because they were being annihilated off the earth, and they had to, like, he was artificially inseminated in the Holy Grail, is where the sperm drop was in the cup, and Mary put it inside of her to have a godlike child from her cousin's husband, Zechariah, who was the high priest in Jerusalem at the time when it was being destroyed. So, and they was trying not to go into extinction. They was trying not to be destroyed off the earth. So he was recreated artificially, inseminated, I believe. From a sperm drop of a man. He was just not just brought into the life. Some miraculous birth. Every man is birthed from a sperm drop of another man. So, Jesus, son of Sirach. So, but his father is Joseph, husband of his mother Mary. So, I mean, that's why him and John was called brothers, John the Baptist and shit. So, in Genesis chapter 49, now Joseph got the blessing for his two sons, and the younger son had the blessing over the older. So, it's another apocryphal account about the testimony of the tribes of Israel who reigned in the land of Egypt. So that story is on the temple walls in Egypt. You better look at the temple of Amun-Ra in Karnak and look at all of the things in Egypt, and you will find it. I know it's the same story. From Shishak to Tutmos and all of those things. And we'll talk about that later, but the other tribes, since the birthright went to the younger son, the younger class was ruling over the older sons. And maybe the younger son was not as wise as the older to make the command decisions in the family. So in the testimony of like Zebulon in the tribes of Israel, they got 12 testimonies in the Apocrypha. Zebulon was talking about the story how they hated Joseph. They hated Joseph because he had a portion greater than theirs. He was blessed more than they were. And they were the ruling class, but they were the younger sons who were not the wiser in these matters. The children of Israel, 10 of the sons went to the battles of their father with the wars with Canaan, and they conquered the Canaanites. Simeon, Levi, Reuben, Reuben first, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. The 4 older sons were and their people went to the war, so they thought they were greater and stronger than their younger brother who didn't even go to the war. They sold Joseph into slavery because of some dream he had, thinking he was greater than them. That's why they hated him, because they were more mightier than him. They were older than him and stronger than him, and he got a blessing better than them, and their father blessed the younger sons. And they were sons from another mother, who their father loved more than their mother. So the sons of Leah, the sister of Rachel, who was the younger sister, Israel blessed the younger sister's sons more than Leah's sons, who had more sons and was a stronger and older race of people. They despised their younger brothers because they had a portion better than them. And they didn't want to listen to their younger brother tell them what to do. And in the testimony, I think it's of Zebulun, he talks about that in his vision. He had a dream that the children of Israel were on a boat, and the younger sons were steering the vessel. And they got out of control, and they lost control of the vessel, and the vessel crashed, and they had a sea crash, a sea wreck. They all got scattered and dispersed and lost by sea. But the God of the sea appeared to them and called them back home. I got to find it. I'll read that later, But it's based on Genesis chapter 49, what I was telling you. When the sons, Ephraim and Manasseh from the house of Joseph, got the blessing over the rest of their brothers. In 49, Jacob's words to his sons was, Jacob called his sons and said, gather together that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days. Gather together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, you shall not excel. Because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. So he cursed Reuben out. You slept with my concubine, one of your brother's wives, brother's mothers. One day when she got drunk and he ain't sleep with her, and he went and slept with his father's concubine. So now when the father is about to die, he cursed Reuben. Reuben, you're going to be unstable like water. Yeah, that's why the older brother's family didn't have the blessing, because the sin of their father to his own father. That's why Israel blessed Joseph. He loved Joseph because they threw him away. They tried to sell Joseph into slavery, and he found him in the latter days of his life, and he loved his son, who he thought was dead. So that's why Israel blessed his younger son Joseph over the rest of his sons. So Simeon and Levi are brothers. Instruments of cruelty are in their dwelling place. Let not my soul enter their counsel. They got weapons of warfare in their tent resting place. Don't enter there. Let not my honor be united to their assembly. For in their anger they slew a man. They killed a man. Hamor and Shechem over their sister Dinah, right? So, and in their self-will they hamstrung an ox. God told them, do not hamstring that ox. Don't kill that ox, and they killed the ox anyway, and they roasted the meat and killed it. But it was an ox that God had blessed, and God loved it like a living creature, and he didn't want them to kill it. And he told them don't do it, but they did it anyway. That's something that Father told them, don't kill that ox right there. It's like killing another man. And they killed it anyway, and he cursing them now, In the latter days, you will be cursed because of what you did in your day on this earth. So, and when y'all leave from this earth and die, your children are going to face problems because they got this inherited, this is hereditary. You did what your father do on earth as it is in heaven. Like father, like son. Your children in the latter days, that's what he's telling them. So, cursed be their anger, for it is fierce. And their wrath, for it is cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. And that's what happened. In the latter days, they're not a tribe of people anymore there. Simeon and Levi's priesthood is scattered, is dispersed. They got weapons of warfare, and they're ready to go to Armageddon with weapons of cruelty in their hands. So, all right, Judah, you are he whom your brother shall praise. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down, he lies down as a lion. And as a lion, who shall rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh comes. And to him shall be the obedience of the people, binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's coat to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun shall dwell by the haven of the sea. He shall become a haven for ships, and his brother shall adjoin Sidon. Start right here. So this is the testimony of Zebulun, who tells you about his dream on a shipping vessel. And all of his brothers were on that ship, but the younger brothers took control of the family on the ship. And they lost control of steering the vessel, and it crashed, and they were all dispersed. So that was the testimony of Zebulun. When I find it, I will do that on another note. Okay. Issachar is a strong donkey, lying down between two burdens. He saw that rest was good and that the land was pleasant. He bowed his shoulder to bear a burden and became a band of slaves. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, a viper by the path that bites the horse's heels, so that its rider shall fall backward. So that's what happened to the tribe of Dan. They're like a serpent. And I see at Chichen Itza, you see the Serpent Mound in Ohio, in the pre-Columbian era of America. It's a place called the Serpent Mound. The people are like serpents. But they were like God as well, but they had a Serpent Mound community right there. That was their symbol. At some of the temples at Chichen Itza, at Tenochtitlan, that's one of their, they put the serpent there. I know it's a symbol of evil, but they have the serpent. And it was like God to them. So, and that's what Israel says Dan would be like. Israel was like God, though, in a way. He was a man of God, and his son is like a serpent by the way. But the viper is fighting against the enemy of his father, enemy of God. So that's, I saw those motives also in Egypt with the Uriah. So it's at Chichen Itza, Tenochtitlan, on some of their temples at the foot, like an enraged cobra, a viper, striking the enemy. So that motive is all in the temples at Mexico, the Nagas in India and Southeast Asia has the same